You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Battle Brick, Battle Brick, Battle Brick Road. The Battle Brick Road to 100K begins now. You're not in Kansas anymore. Wait, what? Eric Weathers literally lives in Kansas? The Battle Brick Road to 100K. You're not in Kansas anymore. But Eric Weathers is. Be a part of it. Let's make it happen. The Battle Brick Road to 100K. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Battle Brick Road, only on Indiegogo. Nosfero, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
You can't have that cookie, Elmo. Rocco wants to eat it.
I have tried to be your friend, but you will not listen to me. So you invited this monster. Don't make me kill somebody.
Good morning, come on in. Coffee's good, fresh and hot. There's a waffle in the baker on the grill. We're making bacon. You're always welcome back.
Charge!
There's a fire beneath my skin. There's a fever that makes me ill. Got a love that kills. I got 24 hours to live. Come back. I'm down on my knees. Come back. I'm begging you, please.
What is up, brothers and sisters? It is great to see you guys here at 5:09 p.m. on the East Coast and whatever time it is, wherever you live around the world. Let's see who we've got here in the chat. We are going to be working on Nosfero the Crypt Walker and whatever else I decide to put out on my desk. So let's see who's here in the chat today. And let's see here. We have got, first and foremost, we have got McGregorable J. That is, you guys are really working my dyslexia out. I will tell you this. It's great to have you here. Hail, tip of the hat to you, my friend. Past Master Dan, great to see you. Hail to you. Let's see. We've got Scottsley here. Scottsley, great to see you, brother. Hail. Let's see what else we have got. We've got Stephen Rockwood dropping links like it is going out of style. Thank you so much. He drops more links than, let's say, Jimmy Dean. There you go. You've got it right there. Jimmy Dean sausage links. So, hail. What's up, Michael Bancroft? You're welcome to come in here, man. You have the link if you feel the need, if you're still drawing, if it's still morning. Terror in the Trenches. Look at all these links. Well done, Stephen Rockwood drawing. Let's see who else we've got here. Anyone else? Anyone else I missed? We got Michael there. We've got lots of people. Son of Liberty Radio. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, beautiful copy of Mystery in Space with a Joe Kubert cover. Joe Kubert 3-page story. Michael Golden 8-page story. Len Wein written. Joe Staten story 2. Love opening comic packages. That is awesome. What's up, Phil? How are you doing? Are you still at work at Chicago? Of course you are. What am I saying? You probably are still at work there. It's good to see you, brother. And I'll be working on that piece at some point today as well. Been working on lots of stuff. Yeah, that is awesome, guys. Yeah, Phil's got a link there. Teflon Ron, how you doing, man? Great to see you here. Hail to you and hail to the chat again. We've also got Eric Weathers. Thanks for having me on just a short while ago, brother. I appreciate it. So excited about the book. We are on the Battle Brick Road to 100K for anybody who is curious. That book is so painfully close to 100K. It's going to happen. It's going to fall. Battle Brick Road, and the link, I'm sure, has been posted somewhere in here at this point because it usually is. Let's see. Yeah, Darth Bancroft in the house. Let's see if we've got anybody else in here. Aldous is here, listening while driving through snow. God, be careful, please. Yay, spring. All right, Aldous, be careful. We need you. We need you. You have to say McGregorable in a really thick accent. McGregorable. I can't do it, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and there's Aldous' link to his YouTube channel. Yeah, I started drawing a shadow piece last night. Phil, awesome. 80s made consumer, 80s MC in the house. It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Let us see who we've got here. Hold on a second here. We have got the man,
It's
the
me,
myth,
McGregorable.
McGregorable. God, that hurts
Hey.
to say. Yeah, right. We speak of the devil. There he is. Nice thick Irish accent. That's right. What's up, Phil? 80s Made Consumer is here. Yes, can't wait for Battle Brick Road. And hail J-Bot. It's good to see you. So where we left off, Michael, on our last stream, how's work?
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, Sean. A long
It's
time.
been ages. It's been
a
ages.
good 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, we've got each other's early AM figured out, don't we?
Yeah.
See, I can.
Yeah,
show
I
more of
I
the
literally
painting on
I
my
rolled
site.
out of bed. I got a cup of tea. I came into the cottage and, opened up my Eiffel Tower and got stuck into it and just jumped on a stream. And everyone is like, why does Bancroft look like he's hungover? Well, it's now 7
besides the
a.m.
obvious.
So I'm a little bit more alert, but yeah.
There you go.
This is the best
Yeah, I
time
mean-
to draw. I love drawing early in the morning. It's just
Have you always drawn early in the
focus.
morning? Oh, I do too. I just come at it from the other side.
Yeah. No, I can't do what you do. That's my that was me when I was playing poker. So,
Yeah.
you sleep all day, you have crazy dreams, insane, and then you build whole stories around that. It's great for that. But
Yeah.
for actual productivity for me, no, not so good. It's funny, like I hang out with all the Americans, obviously, on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah.
You guys are all keeping crazy hours. I'm on a normal schedule. I get up between 5 and 6. I draw before work. I go to work. Do a stream during the day or after work, and then lunch and dinner with the kids, a bit more drawing, and then it's bedtime at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
You guys
I've never
are
kept
crazy.
normal hours in my life. So this is just this. I mean, truly, I never have. And I got to say hello to my brother, my New England brother, Jeremy Lord Crackhead 33 brother. It's great to see you. Yeah,
Yo.
the man, the myth, the legend. There
Mhm.
you go. I will tell you this, guys. Yeah, it's good to see all you guys in the chat. The thing about it is, for me, is I've always worked best, no matter how much sleep I get. I've always worked best late at night, and I've always been up late at night. So I can go to sleep, which I did, at 3 a.m, and then I woke up this morning at whatever it was, 8 o'clock or something like that, and I just go straight to my desk where I left off. And I don't know why I'm engineered that way. I fade in the middle of the day, so this is actually kind of a tough time for me to be working, but I can force it if I have to.
Yeah, I used to when I kept those hours, I used to fade in the middle of the day as well. Every day without fail. But since I essentially decided to flip the whole thing on its head and be an early morning guy, never happens anymore. I'm super alert at that 3 p.m. 4 p.m. period, which I never was. That would be, I remember, because I got to work, I got a day job. I remember every day, at 3:30, I was sitting there like this, holding my eyes open so I could work.
Yeah.
And and I don't drink coffee, so tea is good, but it doesn't give you that hit that coffee does. Allegedly, I don't drink it, but
yeah. Well, we've got a coffee culture in this country, so it's a little different,
Oh no, we do as well. We do as well. I mean,
well, what I mean to
especially in
say
Melbourne.
is that our culture of coffee, though, is a little bit stronger, no pun intended, because, and I didn't learn this until recently, was that because there's an 18th century historian channel that I watch, that it goes back to the Boston Tea Party. So it was actually kind of a point of pride in this country early on, because I was asked, why don't we have any of these tea traditions that other Western countries have? But apparently it was a major point of pride to us. And I just was like, wow, is that why? Because it's true. It does seem odd that we wouldn't have that,
We got our tea culture from in Britain, obviously. Like there are actual tea houses and stuff like that here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love tea. The tea is pretty much all I drink. And but we got our coffee culture from Italy.
There you go.
So
you guys don't do shit like down bottles of,
no, it's
what do you
more
call
of
it?
a
Mochas.
they have people who drink it have one or two really good high end coffees. It's not just like
That's right.
there's not just like a pot sitting there of percolating coffee. It's they got
That's
the
right.
whole massive machines. Everyone leaves. It's like a smoker. You're at work. I was like, someone goes for a coffee run down to the barista, and then they come back and they're all super expensive and la-di-da. I'm glad I never got into that. Just like smoking, it just seemed like a money sink and a time sink and an addiction.
No comment.
I get into good addictions like gambling and poker.
No. It's
profitable
it's so funny. I guess I'm in certain ways I'm as American as mom and apple pie, and I didn't get into coffee till later, but in the South, when I was growing up, we drink soda first thing in the morning, which a lot of people find horrific. So we would just wake up and it's like have a Coke with your breakfast, and that is
foul.
Well, you have to smoke a cigarette with it or it doesn't work.
Oh my god. I used to have a friend that would wake up and the first thing he had to do would smoke a cigarette. And I was like, I couldn't even look at him. I was like, I need something fresh in the morning. I actually don't eat in the a meal until midday.
Mm-hmm.
But I need something to tide me over, but it has to be fresh, like a apple
cigarette
or
not
a cigarette. No.
Oh god, that is too funny, man. Yeah, I may have had a somewhat different experience. Have you ever dipped?
Have I ever had a Coke in the morning?
No. Have you ever dipped?
Dipped. I don't know what that is.
Tobacco in your mouth.
Oh, chance. No.
Just was curious.
No, I had a cigarette. When I was like 14 or something.
Yeah.
And actually, no, my friend and we found a packet.
Mm.
And so you started smoking them up, and I vomited everywhere. And and then I tried to have a cigarette throughout my teenage years. All the cool kids are smoking, and I had like half a puff here and there, and I would just want to vomit, and I'd be so dizzy. No, I don't smoke. I don't chew tobacco. Although it does look pretty cool in the
chewing it's different
baseball,
than dipping it, but I understand what you mean.
Baseball move. I don't know that. I don't know the names.
Well, when you come here, there's all sorts of fun things you can try.
I know. Yeah, no, I won't be partaking. I don't smoke.
No,
weed. I don't do any of that stuff.
I'm incredibly straight edge, now. I just, except for my sleep and my hours, I'm a good boy. That's the way it is. If you guys would come me back in the day, would have 3 or 4 cigarettes. Yeah, before. Yeah, absolutely. Before PT. Oh my gosh, physical training. There's people who is Michael's only vice now is the killing. It's good.
Well, if I had time, I would be gambling. If I had time, I'd be gambling, but I just don't have time.
Yeah, we got 24 Eyes here in the chat. We've got Admiral Wackass here in the chat. And there was someone I just saw, 80s Made Consumer in the chat. It's great to see you. Where Joe? There is Joe Wapner. Good to see you, my friend. General Piggy, Antoine Dennison, of course. Let me make sure. I think I've got everybody here. But yeah, I mean, it's just come here to shoot guns. There you go. This explains the rollerblades.
Oh man.
There you go.
Well, if you want to be a good rollerblader, you gotta be a bit. You gotta have a healthy constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard on the body.
And then you got into comics, and then it just undid everything you did,
Well, if you want to be serious about comics, it has to sort of take over your life. You can't be half in, half out. You can't be 1 foot in the water and 1 foot out. Otherwise, you'll never get it done. And even if you do, it won't be as good as it should be.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, it's we were talking about, you know, work and all this kind of stuff. You know, I let's see, the YouTube channel now is creeping towards 900 subscribers now. The book crossed 33K. Thank you guys, everyone in the chat.
I always
Thank you,
knew you were a
Commonscape.
creeper.
I am a creeper. No, the book is stalking. No, it's we're at 33
Hunting.
there, or yeah, 20. I'm sorry, 23 there, not 33. That'd be something. But yeah, hunting, the most dangerous.
What is it in Australian dollars?
It's $500,000. So
Oh,
that's
there you
great.
go.
You know,
You're on your way.
and then these pages, man, are starting to really flow. And I gotta tell you, I love hearing other people's processes, and I realize my process is nothing like that. Hey, what's up, Lloyd Burton? Good to see you. Yeah, and of course, there's the link, because I do, when you watch, the closest I've seen to my process, though not in ink, is what Ethan does. I like do a layout page, rough it in, and I just go. And
yeah,
so bizarre.
People,
you know, to think about.
yeah, and I love watching Ethan draw, quote unquote. It's like these things just manifest out of nothing.
Yeah.
And there's a bit, clearly there's a little bit of confusion going on my draw streams, because it does seem to be a similar process, but it really isn't. Just because I work off loose roughs, when I draw, it's digital. So if you draw a line and you don't like it, undo, or you could just erase it, super easy. You can morph it, you can do all sorts of things. So it's, yeah, you and Ethan are doing a lot more similar than what I'm doing, which is, I mean, it is really different digitally. But people, as I noticed, like, people will always give suggestions and critiques and everything, which is cool. I get no problem with that. On my work in progress, as I'm sort of figuring things out. So I have an idea in my head of what I want it to look like, and then I've got references that I'm looking at, so I can see sort of, but like along the way, it's not going to look as it's going to look at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's I know that may sound odd, but that's a similar process that I have. And yeah, Stephen Rockwood, somebody grabbed that last head sketch, and that's one of the things that just moved us.
Has that not sold yet?
It's sold. It's gone. All of
they did. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it's gone, and it's now I haven't even selected a new featured tier, because that was the featured tier. So I got to make sure I do that. But when I work, I have an idea of what things are going to look like, but that's a scribbly process. You've seen my sketches.
I love those sketches.
That's so weird. I'm glad you do, but
it's completely alien to me. It's like I love you guys, like you and Ethan and Kenneth. It's all a mystery. Everything that you guys do is a mystery to me. I don't understand it. I'll never try and replicate it. But the end result is just so incredible and eye-catching, and it pulls you in. Did you see the video of Kenneth painting with a brush?
I think I've seen some of his Instagrams, but I don't know if I saw if there was a big video.
He put it on Twitter, just like what you right here, with a brush painting.
Yeah.
But he was painting one of his characters, and I was just looking like, it seems like he's a human. Like he's got a hand and he's got a paintbrush and he's just putting in, but the end result just seems so otherworldly. I can't figure it out. I put all you guys in the same category like that. I don't understand how you do what you do.
The thing about it is that and this is the best way I could put it. And you know me, we've talked about how my particular brain works. The only way I've ever understood how to express things has been through drawing. And I mean, it was never a skill that I didn't even, how do I word this? I didn't come from a situation where it was ever thought for a minute you would do anything with art in your life for a career. I can't overstate that. And it was how I expressed myself. So when you do something, And I don't mean when I say express, I mean some kids write in sentences, some kids do this. This is how I work, like, or this is how I think. So when I take a break from doing this, I go to my computer or I have my laptop in my lap. I'm half dead, and I'm sketching in Photoshop, drawing on the trackpad. It's what I do to relax, and it's what I do for work. It's what I do for everything. And so it doesn't. This does not ever separate from me. It's such a strange thing, and I've been like this since I was a kid. And when people were like, people do stuff with this, I was like, well, that seems like an odd thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like it may sound crazy, but it never dawned on me because it's all I've ever done. And when people, when I do this work, and people ask me like, this was a big thing I ran into, when people would try to, give me advice or suggestions with the work. And I had a great mentor for that, but who gave me some really solid advice. But if I'm honest, the things I do, I can't explain what I do. I just do it. And so when I get advice, I can implement some of it, but I have to filter it through my own way. So it's not a very, it's the furthest thing from an intellectual process ever. I feel it and it goes. It's hard to describe. I do think but it's
that
through my
maybe
hands.
that's it. Maybe that's it, because for me it is a bit of an intellectual process. I see drawing as solving a problem. It's like a maths problem. I've got a problem I need solving. I got to figure it out. So, but whereas for you, it sounds much more just innate, and you're tapping into your emotional side or whatever it is, and you just do it, and you can't articulate
No,
the process because it's a part of you. Whereas for me, I very much can. I can take everyone through all of my thought processes, and that's interesting. Maybe that's why I don't understand. In the same way, I don't understand people who can hear a piece of music and then play it on the piano.
So that brings us to
It
our
doesn't
next problem.
even compute.
So
for me.
I started learning the piano just over a year ago. And from the first moment I picked up a violin, I was playing tunes to my teacher, and he'd go, "Where did you read that?" I said, "I heard someone play it." He's like, "You're learning how to play things by ear on the violin, and you're just learning how to hold your hands correctly." And I said, "Is that not done?" And
Not me.
the first time I ever saw anybody who I saw a show and I went, "Ooh, honey," and I pointed at it, I go, that right there. And I actually was lucky enough to see my wife got me a lecture of her talking, was I saw a biopic on Temple Grandin, and they ask her the question, "Can you see every pair of shoes you've ever seen?" And she goes through her head, and there's all these flashes of images, and she goes, "Sure, can't you?" And that was a horrifying thing to watch, because in that moment I started to realize that people didn't see things like that. And things that were difficult for me to master was learning how to read a calendar. Things that were easy for me to understand were complicated, like things about perspective and drawing and how you see things, and that kind of thing. And it's a very strange thing. And what's tough is when I was teaching, there's such an emphasis in academia to explain everything you do. And I realized it really hindered me, because when you do have a process where you don't think, and then someone makes you explain it as if it's an intellectual process, it's painful. It's like, you're forcing me to pretend I think about this, It's not how it goes. Humble Croft.
Like I kind of do understand that side of it, because when you are a student, a lot of times you're just experimenting, you're doing things because you think they look good, but your art teacher wants you to develop a whole story behind it, and you're like, "Oh, so I do that after the fact? All right, whatever." I mean, it sounds lame, but that's the school. But it's funny how we approach this completely differently.
Sure. So how when people watch Sherlock Holmes, I always tell this story. They watch the Sherlock Holmes stuff and they go, "Wow, people who like that kind of thing look at it and go, "Oh, that," and I do, but that must be like how cool that might be to be Sherlock Holmes or whatever. I look at that and I go, "How awesome is it to be Watson, except he has this one problem. He can't shake Sherlock Holmes. He could be perfectly happy." And so my wife and my circle of friends tends to be filled with lots of Watsons because they make sense to me. I don't like not knowing why I do, particularly like in terms of this. I can't explain this, and there's something frustrating. I am incredibly appreciative that people enjoy it and are excited by it, but I wish I could explain it. It frustrates me sometimes.
I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to explain it. Like the mystery, it's just part of your art. Like a musician. Like they're not thinking. You know, when a guitarist is just doing a solo or whatever, they're not thinking. They're just feeling the music or whatever. I could never do that. Like I approach everything in a totally different way. I also taught myself how to play piano as well.
There you go. See?
But yeah, in a completely different way, completely opposite. And you know, I can't hear notes. I don't know. I know when a note is right, but I can't hear a note and say, oh, that's, you know, whatever it is, A minor. I don't know. But I really enjoyed playing it. I really enjoyed making the music, but yeah, it's a completely different approach. And that's probably why when I stopped, because I didn't have an actual piano, I had a keyboard. And my keyboard broke. And I didn't get a new one. And I forgot everything I learned over a year and a half, because it was a much more intellectual process. It wasn't a feeling thing. You know, like when you know, here you go. If you stop riding a bike, you can go back years later, and yeah, you're a little bit wobbly, but in 10 minutes, you're back right when you were, you know, riding a bike every day. It's the muscle memory, or it's whatever. This sort of stuff isn't like that for me. If I stop drawing and I come back to it, I'm like, oh God, I got to kind of remember how to do everything.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for you, it's sort of like more of sounds like an innate, kind of hardwired ability that you can hone, but it's just sort of always in there for you.
Yeah, I mean, let me just see who's here in the chat. We've got Maromi, good to see you. We've got, let me see who else we've got here. Anybody else new who's popped in? Let me just check. I think we got everybody. But yeah, I can't describe it. It is, you know, it's like when I stream for 2 hours or whatever, and I'm going, and people go like, well, how do you do that? Well, I certainly don't think about it, you know. It's and howdy, Roger Ryder, and I'm painting at the same time, and I'm thinking about tons of different stuff at the same time, and it's a strange thing, you know. I'm not thinking about one thing, generally speaking, ever, but it's when
do
I
you see these paintings in your head before you do them, or are you just winging it?
I can't describe
it. No comment.
No, I can't.
It's like
I caught myself, because this is the trick. Okay, so I'll tell you a couple of things things I've learned in life. Okay, so when you have dyslexia, nobody wants you to learn to read. At least they don't back when I was growing up. So when I tried to read, I would read aloud, and they'd say, "No, don't do that." And then I realized that if you take a book, hold it in front of you, and you just move your head back at the same pace as everyone else and turn the page, you never get in trouble for not reading. The problem is you don't learn how to read, right?
This is how sociopaths get through school, you realize.
Oh, absolutely. Here's the crazy thing. And I also learned, here's another secret to dyslexia if you don't want to learn how to read. One of my favorites. Hey, what's up, David Snyder? Good to see you. Is that all you got to do is go up to a girl who's read the book you've just been assigned, who's a book nerd, and tell her you really liked the movie. And she'll tell you everything that's different in the book from the movie, so the teacher can't catch you that you've only seen the movie.
That is clever.
So these are all the different skills, clever. Right? Yeah. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, the thing I learned is that, to me, it was almost like being in a cult. But when I went off to academia, when I went to college in 1994, heaven, my Lord, until last year, I've been faking that I have some explanation for my process to make other people feel better. Because that's what faculty expect. You have to write an artist statement, a mission statement. What are you thinking about? Yeah, I have a plot. I have ideas for this story. But when people, like, to put it mildly, but when you see what the story is and how this thing comes together, it's going to feel and it's going to be a connected, very dense, almost literary density in terms of its visuals work of art. And I don't. That has been very hard for me to say because in the world I came out of, if you can't explain it, then it's not real, which is the funniest thing about education. And in reality, some of the things that are the best things you can do, you can't always put into words, but people can see them with evidence. It's the same thing with, I used to get in trouble when I was a kid for not showing my work when I did math because I just did it in my head. I couldn't, spell very well, but I could see math,
Yep. Yeah, show your work, but a lot of people just do it intuitively. And again, I don't understand. Maths to me is my one arithmetic. I was actually I didn't do like super duper hard maths or anything. I just did the normal maths, but I was the top student because you could sit down with a spreadsheet and work out these gigantic calculations like a computer. And I always enjoyed that. It was a break from the art because there's always a right answer, but it never came intuitively ever. You ask me what 12 times 7 is, and like my brain shuts down. It just everything turns to molasses. It's like my brain is not configured for arithmetic. What you're describing reminds me of synesthesia,
synesthesia,
where people see colors when with words and stuff or sounds. Like they hear a sound and they see a color, and you try to explain that to someone like me who doesn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't compute. But I'm happy for you.
yeah. I'm telling you right now, it's a very strange thing. I'm seeing all these 80. Yeah, I knew it was 84.
They're calculating for me because
No, when the second you said it, I was like 84. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like
see,
it was.
No,
but
I would have to sit here and go. And I wouldn't be able to talk, and
and I was painting while I did the calculation, but I didn't say it because to me, it's weird. It's not. And listen, there are people way better. I'm not great at math. I wasn't able to do pre-calculus or any of that stuff, but with numbers and how things come together, I smell gold. Yeah, I've heard all these things described, but I feel like whenever synesthesia, like people have said, do you have this? And I'd go, well, there are numbers that bother me more than others. So I would say to my wife, like, oh, I've got this many, and I'm not even going to say it because our chat will make a example out of this. But there's certain numbers I cannot stand when a large number ends in them. It drives me crazy. And whenever I have a certain amount of people subscribed to or whatever, or a certain amount of like sales or backers that end in that number, it drives me nuts. And so, there's stuff like that.
That's called OCD, I think.
It's very weird though, but it's very specific numbers. It's not like I want it to be.
Hang on.
Yeah, it's very hard to describe.
Have you ever listened to much of Richard Feynman just chat and stuff like that?
No.
The physicist. He used to do these are like the smartest people in the world, of their time. And Feynman was particularly brilliant because he was an extraordinary teacher as well. He could speak very well, which most of these guys couldn't. But he did all these lectures, and there's so many videos out there of him just waxing political about different physics things. And is it 7?
Yeah, it's 7. Of course it is.
What do you got against 7?
Sorry, that just makes me laugh. Drives me nuts.
And Feynman is in wherever he was. I don't know where he worked, but he's in this university with all these physicists, and of course, to pass the time sometimes when he's waiting for something, he'd look up at his clock that would have you'd be able to see when the minute ticks by. And he would see when the minute gets there, he would close his eyes and he'd count to 60 to see if he could get it on the dot. And when he first started trying, he was like, all right, I'm usually 7 seconds late or early or whatever. So then he would either count before and then he'd be able to get it. So he's like, okay, so that's he's figuring out, okay, how long, like what's the dial, like how long am I slow or fast or whatever. And then he was like, well, what if I start writing while I do that? Like, how does that affect it? And he would try that and all this other stuff. And he got the entire faculty in on this little mental game. And he discovered that different people can do different things while they do this. Some people can do it while they write. Some people can do it while they talk. Some people can do it while they're throwing a ball and all sorts of stuff, but others can't. It's, it doesn't matter how smart you are. This, astrophysicist cannot do this while talking, but this one can. And it was really interesting how we got into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that was the answer.
That's a classic.
Classic, yeah. So here's a number that bothers me, just to make sure people understand what I'm talking about. The number 547. Yeah, make sure I'm right on it. Yeah, 500 and is it 547 or is it? It might be 574 as well. It's both of those bother me, but 537 doesn't as much. And if you want me to explain that, or if you want to try, you're welcome to. Trust me, there's no explanation. It just is. It's like a fact, like anything else. So think about it this way: when I'm doing my work, and you look at my layout pages, right? This is me making marks on a piece of paper, and how do I word? I should put it upside down because you can see.
This is the madness of Shanth and Jedi.
This is me.
I would read this comic.
God,
I would pay good money for this comic.
Yeah, it's something. It's like when I look at this stuff, right? This image right here will never be solved. This page layout. The reason it won't be solved is I tried to do it how normal people do stuff. I'll start with a panel, and then I'm gonna put this panel here because I couldn't see the layout in my head yet. Or that's me using those words. I didn't know the page is a better way of putting it. I don't see a layout in my head. It's not like that. And because I do it it happens on the paper. And so when I got to this point, I did this. I was like, how would I tell this? Because I can't think of it yet. And every time I tried to move it off of this, it didn't work. This was 5 seconds, boom, done. This was 5 seconds, boom, done. This was 5 seconds, boom, done. It's just the way it is. And I'm only doing this so I can remember my ideas long enough to be able to paint them. And there's composition in there too, but it's much more like the composition is like the numbers. It's wrong. So it's not, this is how I do it correctly. It's knowing, like when I'm playing music on a violin, no, yes, that's it right there. And it's like that, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. None of that made sense, Shanth. None of it.
Okay.
You're just better off saying, I can't explain it. I'm a artistic genius. Just accept my genius and buy my comic and buy my pieces. I hung up the, you saw we hung up the ARO.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was really moved by that. Yeah. That was great.
That paper that you paint on is so thick. I was impressed. I was like, I don't remember being impressed by the paper that something comes on. It was so it doesn't bend. I'm not that I didn't try and bend it, but I'm just like, this is great, because usually when you put up a piece, you're always like, unless you really get a professional framer to do it, I'm always worried it's going to start warping and in the thing. Not yours. No, this ain't going nowhere.
My stuff
it's now sitting pride of place in my.
This right here is what I'm working on now. This is a canvas textured piece of illustration.
Yeah, that's it. You tap it like it is. It's like a piece of paper wood
So
or something. It's
here's the
great.
craziest thing about it, right? And this is another thing. I can't work on white paper unless it has texture. However, this is smooth paper, but because it's brown and it has fragmenting or kind of this modeling in it, I can work off of it. But if I work on white, smooth illustration board or anything like that with the same skills, I can't do it physically. It doesn't work. It just doesn't happen. And it's such a weird. It's just got to be a physical thing that's beyond my ability to understand it. You know, it just is. And when I talk about my ideas, when I was talking with my wife about this, and people don't understand, like the thing that makes our marriage work so well is her ability to put me in the zone. She goes, because the things that I talk about, and my son, who taught himself essentially how to 3D model at 15, is working professionally now, or 14, and now he's working professionally at 16. We didn't teach it to him. We don't understand it, but he just does. He was building with blocks these insane things when he was little, and we were just like, what is he doing? Like it was, I don't know if I've ever sent you the pictures. I'll send them to you at some point. And we have twins. So we had my daughter at the same age building something next to him, and we had him building, and we were just like, what is happening with this kid? But I love this, this kind of texture, and it's very, I'm not as close as Ethan, but when I watch Ethan's work, I don't understand. I only can assume for him when he works that way, he's having an experience similar to mine. I just don't I could never do that way. So it makes just as little sense to me, but it makes sense in the fact that mine doesn't make sense to me, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's weird.
But it's okay. We'll deal with it.
Yeah, I mean it's I remember when I went off to college. You guys are awesome, by the way. I remember when I went off to college. Hello, Nicotronis. Everybody's here. Look at you guys. Aaron is here. Aaron Anderson is here. Enrique Cabrera is here. 80s made consumer. There you go. A sensory device. Yeah, there's all these things. What's up, Teflon Ron? Yeah, it's tapping into the fourth dimension. The way I would put it is, when I went off to college, there was this kid who was always trying to be funny. And I was talking to a bunch of people, and I must have said something funny or done something funny. And he came up to me and he goes, I like what you did there. How like you set that up and you did this and you did that. And I just looked at this guy, and he's totally exactly how he's being described.
I've known people like this. Yeah,
you know people like that? Yeah. And you just go, no, I put no thought into what I was doing. I was just trying to be funny and hoping that somebody found it funny, but I can't explain. There was no writing of a script before I had that normal human conversation.
Yeah, you know? No, there's those people are around. They ascribe sort of planning to conversation, and you know, you get an insight into their thought process. And these are always the people who then later come back to me and say, oh, this guy is doing this because he's, and it ends up like they're the ones who think everyone's playing 4D chess all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas
you've heard this great joke.
A lot of the time, almost no one, the only people playing 4D chess are them in their own head.
Well,
and,
I heard this great joke.
They don't realize that, yes, some people are just naturally witty or charming or whatever.
There's this great joke by Jim Gaffigan, which is the best thing I can explain to people, that is what I feel like as far as what a truly crazy person feels. So there's people who are going, you know, oh, I do things this way, but at least I'm, you know, not crazy. And then another person says, well, I'm crazy, but I'm not in the nut house. And then the person in the nut house goes, I may be in the nut house, but at least I'm an orange. and that last part is me. So when people come up to me going, you know, people are trying to do this, I'm like, at least I'm an orange. Like, it's the best. Like my students, I think I've told you this. My students said to me one time, do you ever worry that when you're talking and you're teaching that what the students think of you? I said, no, that's a lame worry. I worry that I'm at a bus stop. There are no students. You know, I'm some elderly white Scotch Irishman who thinks he's an Indian, Austrian, Puerto Rican college professor, and I'm at the bus stop teaching art, and people go, poor man. That's what my fears are. So when I sit down, this is Comicsgate, and this is about the only stuff that makes sense to me, man. Because in Comicsgate, they're much like Outback Steakhouse, which is, I know, an Australian institution, or so we've been told. There are no rules, just right. So if when someone says to me, "What's your nightmare scenario?" My nightmare scenario is, being in a situation where everyone, thought and did things the same way. I know because I've been in those situations, but I don't need if people want to explain the process of how they make their artwork, that's great. If people don't want to, and don't even know how to do it, they're not forced to fake it here. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have politics, and if you want to talk about your politics and explain them, you can. If you don't have any interest in explaining that because that's not your particular thing, like you have ideas, you have beliefs or opinions, that's fine. But that's what the best situations are. So I'm a big fan of the Lucent. I'm a big fan of Narwhal stuff. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of a lot of different books. I love the Lost Pages, which I just started reading. And none of that
Where's
stuff
my
is
Lost
the same.
Pages,
Hey,
Phil?
Yep. Yeah, where is it, Phil? Jim Cox, it's great to see you, my friend. Yeah, beautiful mind. Yeah, we were joking about that. Yeah, Jim Gaffigan is, gotta love him. I love his food
Yeah,
jokes.
I've got his book here, actually. Fat Dad, somewhere.
Yeah,
Here
he's
it is.
awesome.
Oh, no,
So-
Dad is Fat.
Dad is fat. Yeah, I love that guy. Well, he's a perfect example of one of my favorite comedians, and I've said this for years, as far as comedians go, is Dave Chappelle. And I don't think anybody can explain what Dave does.
Why is he so compelling? Why can't he just go, like, sometimes his sets they don't even feel like comedy shows. He goes out, he has his couple of smokes, and he just sits and talks to the crowd. But it's like you never want it to end. And I've seen Dave live, and it was very much like that. It was when he very first came back, and he was it wasn't like any other comedy show I'd ever been to. But I didn't. No one wanted it to end. We were just laughing so hard, and I don't really remember any jokes. It was really cool. Yes, Antoine Mel did buy me that. We both the Dad is Fat book. We both love Jim Gaffigan. So
I love Jim Gaffigan too. Yeah,
I love his McDonald's bit. That was always good.
Oh, it's all McDonald's, man. Of course I do, because of my mind. You know that. Where would you like the joke to start?
We still say, like, we had some burgers the other day, and Victoria's like, "Who wants the bonus fry?"
Yep. Do you guys ever? Yeah, and do you remember what if you care about the gossip about the royal family and you're American? Do you remember what he said?
No.
He goes, "That's Burger King." One of my other favorite joke of this, he talked about how embarrassing it was to get caught in McDonald's during that bit. And he goes, I'll run into somebody at McDonald's occasionally who knows me, and I'll go, "Oh crap," and then I'll go, "Oh, so you get McDonald's?" And they'll go, "No, I'm just coming in here to use the ATM. What are you doing here, Jim?" He's like, "I'm just meeting a prostitute." Yeah. He should be here any minute. Like he was of all the things, but he goes, "Who's Jennifer Aniston dating?" And he goes, "It's all McDonald's." He's like, and it feels so good going down. Comedy is one of my favorite things in the world. It's why, can you imagine for even a minute asking Cecil how he sets up his comedy? Does anyone think there's a process to that?
Yeah, well, there can't be. I mean, he's so quick,
too fast.
There can't be a thought process to it.
Yep.
He's a guy I don't understand either. Like some of the Mo Biggs, very occasionally I'll have it happened the other day. I have a similar joke to what Mo Biggs will do. And I got the joke. I was listening to the stream, like, "Oh, that's a good joke." I'm going to the chat. I'm typing it out. I look up. Mo's already made the joke better, and it's already in the chat. Like that. So
yeah, well, the chat is amazing in that regard, and it's Yeah, it's a very strange thing. I had that experience with I know I've told you that story, but I had an experience with a student who had very severe autism and was at a professional day thing where I was coming in as an artist and cartoonist and concept artist, and was talking about my work, and he had a difficult time because they changed they told him the wrong topic. And
Yep. Yep. I
one of
remember
the
that.
things, I told you that story, and the next time I saw him, before he could freak out and get all stressed out, he was asking me questions about this comic, and all I did was give him stats about the comic he likes. Like Carl Barks drew this comic book. He did it from this time to this time. Then he worked on this time and blah, blah, blah. And it was like the relaxation that he had where he went from the stats had an emotional impact. And so when
Yeah.
I look at, you were asking me what kind of podcasts I watch. I don't ever listen to complicated podcasts because it's so complicated in here. I can't deal. So I like to watch things that are more like Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing podcast. I love that. I love watching things like, oh gosh, anybody talking about a hobby they have. Love that stuff. Love listening to people talk about hobbies. I bet you don't listen to like things like that. Like people talking about
No,
like
not
action
really.
figure collecting. No way, right?
No, I'm the opposite. So yeah, I will listen to at the moment I'm on a kick on ancient Rome, like
Mhm.
how do the aqueducts work? How did
Yeah.
they build them? How did they maintain them? What were the issues? What were how did they influence cultures later? That sort of stuff. That's what I'll listen
Now
to.
that kind of stuff is where we cross over. You know, hey, it's good to see you. My comic is on Indiegogo. There's a link in the description. And there is also a link below that for the email sign up for my brother here who's in stream, Michael Bancroft. So welcome to our stream. Everything we do
Great
here.
to see you. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but great to see you nonetheless.
Absolutely. Yeah, great to see you. And the police are always coming by whenever I'm streaming, it seems. But yeah, I actually will tell you that's where you and I overlap. I love technical things like that. So
Okay.
it's weird. There's boxing and then breakdowns of people's boxing technique, but really mainly just the fights. And then
Yep.
there's things like the Great Math Mystery, Operation Bridge Rescue, where they talk about how certain bridges were built. That I love. I think that's where our crossover is. Stuff like that. And the Lucent makes sense to me, but not in the way I imagine it does for everybody. Because I look at it, and you could see this in my review. It was a very instantaneous thing. I did not intellectualize my purchase of the Lucent at all. I looked at it and went, "That's good. That's going to be good." I heard you talk for a little bit, and I went, "Oh yeah, this guy." And I'm correct, but it's not like I need to dissect it. I just know, it's a very weird thing. When I saw Rich Ayala's Roach Balls, which looks like another work, but these things, if people were to line them up, they'd say, "What do these things have in common?" I could explain it, but I don't think I could. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, no, I don't like necessarily intellectualizing others' art either. I didn't think we need to. That's sort of, I don't know. Is it? I mean, you can do it, but you don't need to do it. It's a lot of the time. Yeah, it's just filler. We know we knows what we likes, and we likes what we knows.
Absolutely right. There you go.
In bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to try and remember that. In bar. Have you ever done that thing, where you can memorize someone's name by something on their face or something about them? I don't know how I'm going to remember that. In bar.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember things like average people do. So it's tough to say. Like, for example, and I could be wrong. If he sees this later, correct me in the comment section. But I know that youngest daughter just gave him his 4th grandson. He mentioned that, I think, a week or two ago. And it's just in there. And I don't know how to describe that. But as I always say, if there were 2 powers I could get, oh, that's awesome too. It's if I could. There you go. Look, everybody's saying hello. Look at this.
This is what we do here. This is the
The
Waffle
chat is
Lodge.
super quick too. I
Yeah,
knew it
this
was
is
an
the
email, but I
Waffle
didn't know what it
Lodge. We
said.
do it the same over on my show as well. The place
Yeah.
where everyone knows your name. Yeah, we say hello. We're very welcoming to everyone and
Yeah,
chill out and have
it's
fun.
yeah, it's so funny too because
Think of it as something sexual. I wouldn't do that.
that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny too because one of the things for me when I'm doing all of this stuff and I'm kind of putting the work together and I'm trying to understand how this stuff works is that people who make a lot of sense in their processes as artists and creators are really I find very interesting. Like I enjoy that, so I love to listen to audio commentary. So I'm kind of, in some ways, it's not true because I do like to listen to other people analyze art, but usually from a place of enthusiasm. So when you saw me, I guess I don't know how long ago this was because it was recent, but in our friendship, it feels like it's a million years ago. But when you saw my review of the
Yeah.
Lucent,
Yeah.
like I
Happened 7 years ago, I feel.
It feels like it. I can't fake that kind
Mm.
of enthusiasm. I wouldn't know how. Like it's either true or it's not. Like it's really it's a strange thing. So yeah, I mean all of the when I meet people and I look at I look at them and how they think and how they process things. I understand them as best as I can, and it's very rare that I could feel slighted by anybody unless it's a legit thing. It's just not how I operate because I'm so in this world. It's hard to describe.
One of the scariest things you can do in Comicsgate?
What's that?
Go to a channel, click on the videos,
Mm-hmm.
and then just see when they came out. I do that
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
on my channel, and I'm like, oh, my 500th show was a month and a week ago. What?
When was the wading into CG waters or whatever, wading into CG, the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that was 9 years ago, but
Mhm.
it probably won't be that long. Let's
I
have a
would
look. I'm gonna go to
love to
channel.
know that because it's going to be scary.
All right, what does it say? How do I search in my own channel? Hold on a sec. Gotta extend this out. There it is. Okay. Wading. That was 6 months ago, Shant.
No. No.
6 months ago.
Are you
See what I'm saying?
serious?
Yes. 6 months ago.
No. That wasn't even,
But even
and I
scarier than
launched
that.
after that.
Even scarier than that. Like,
Mm.
let me go back here. When did I launch the Painted Death teaser trailer?
Hold on.
Yeah.
You
It's
think?
like a month and 2 weeks ago,
That is crazy.
isn't it?
It's
I think that feels like a lifetime ago.
and it was
It's been a
so funny
month.
because I was meeting you and Joe, and I remember Joe and you were talking to me before the show, going, "Don't be weirded out." Joe says, "Don't be weirded out. I'm going to have a weird hat and outfit on the next time you see me." And we were about to go live and talking about this stuff, and you found out I'd done all those videos for Ethan when we were on that stream, and I remember thinking, it was so quick because I guess you had been following my stuff on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah. That's how I knew about you. I knew about you from ages ago through Instagram, and I don't tend to really like reach out to many people on Instagram because you never know like what kind of you're gonna get what kind of treatment you necessarily you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like, you're part of a bigot group,
Oh well, if you'd been following me for a while, you should have seen the Red Rooster fan art I did in 2000 and something.
Well, that's the other thing about Instagram.
I know it hides stuff. Right?
You never see anything. Like
Yeah.
you have to physically go to their page and then scroll back through it. You never see anything.
Yeah.
like they show 2% of what you do to 3% of who follow you.
Yeah, I mean it's a funny thing because I remember consciously thinking about that, saying, with all the, and that was a really crazy time in CG, and I had a lot of followers and people backing my books and stuff like that. But I was like, I don't care. This is ridiculous, and I posted that because I love some of the stuff that they were talking about back in the day in terms of like the Rocketeer as an influence and all that stuff. Hey, what's up, Jeremy Bird? It's good to see you. Hail to you, and yeah, hail Michael. Yeah, a hat group indeed. But it's a very it's a fascinating thing because as I was, oh my goodness, like stepping on all the papers and things I have around me. Yeah, I don't think you'd like my workspace, Michael. But when I meet people and I look at their work, and I came into CG and was looking at all this stuff, I had never. You were like, oh, let me look at your campaign before you launch, or would you like me to take a look at your campaign before you launch? I had never seen anything like that in 18 years in education, which is unbelievable to me to think about. People genuinely, like, I've had some people help me, like, oh, do you want some lesson plans or things like that? But it wasn't stuff like, that was of that level of generosity. Do you want me to help you launch this project or look it over so you have some peace of mind before you launch? And that was really cool. And it's been, I've been doing stuff for Ethan forever. I think I'd already done, which I still haven't shown because he hasn't shown it yet, but I did a Cyberfrog piece for him. So all this stuff had happened with those videos, and it was amazing to watch, that how like 6 months. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 6 months. How funny that I was sitting there worried, like, should I reach out to this guy in terms of, should I encourage this internet relationship to blossom? Because you're always worried.
I guess, yeah.
Like, is he going to turn out to be, has he drank the Kool-Aid essentially?
Yeah.
And then it turns out, no, not only have you not drank the Kool-Aid, you're freaking doing videos for Ethan. You've been here for this whole time. You've just been lurking. I'm like, what the hell? So that was a big pleasant surprise for me. I didn't expect that. That's why I was, you could see it on that stream. That was not fake. I was like, are you kidding me? It was fun times.
The only thing I've ever been good at faking, as you well know, is that I was reading in school, but they forced that on me. And my joke I always tell students is that, the thing you win out of that is never learning how to read. So it's the same thing with lying when you meet people, saying you're something that you're not. I mean, the reward is terrible. You know what I mean? It's having to fake. Yeah.
Never lie on a stream. That shit will come back to bite you in the ass. I'm lucky. I have a lot of stories, and I feel like I've only delved into 5% of them. And so I have some interesting things that have happened in my life that I can talk about. But I always worry, like, people who are trying to put on a character and start exaggerating things and all that sort of stuff. That's just going to bite you in the ass when later on down the line you forgot your little web of exaggerations, and people will start calling you out on it. And plus, as well, if you're trying to sell a comic or whatever, or you're trying to be an artist, people want to see the real you anyway. That's why they're here. They don't want to see some character.
Yeah, well, whenever I think about, people having to go through that process of pretending to be something they're not, I always think to myself, at least I'm an orange.
There you go. At least
and that's the secret, It's the secret is that it is very frustrating to see things in a strange way. But I always tell people this. Here's the best way I could put it. If you could have offered me, if you'd shown me my artwork I'm doing now and said to me, you can either draw like this when I was like 15 or whatever, or 14 or 12, maybe 11. You could draw like this one day, or you could draw exactly like Todd McFarlane. Which will you have? I would go, I want to draw like Todd McFarlane. if I had been capable, and my early books back this up, if I had been capable of drawing like other people, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Back in the day, like this is what I can do. This is all I can do. Does that make sense? Like it's the hardest part of me learning how to do this stuff was to just let it not look like other things because I can't do that. And so people look at it and go, "Oh, that's its own thing," and you go, "That's great." But it's like when I took the Myers-Briggs test and they go, "This is a very rare type." My reaction was, "Damn it." You know, because I'd love to see that test that says you're like everybody.
I
It's
was
going
like,
to be a piece of
cool.
See,
I was like,
that's
cool.
I can't understand
I'm
that.
special. Yeah, because you and I, we both have the same personality type, which is like made perfect sense because we became instant friends on a stream, like just like this.
It's very much.
And when you told me about that thing, and I'd already read about it, I hadn't done it before, but I read about it, and you know, and we had the exact same result. And it goes, and then it goes through all the sort of different idiosyncrasies that you and I have, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. And people say, oh, that's like astrology. That's just telling you. No, you can go through and read the other types as well. And Mel did it, and yeah, it's exactly exactly right. But it's not
a solution to people, but
it's not a solution or anything. It's just an interesting quirk. Like don't make any life judgments on these sorts of things. It's just like some people are just have different personalities, just in the same way that some people are smart, some people are dumb, some people have different temperaments and whatever. And I could tell like from straight away that you and I clicked in that regard.
And it was really useful
funny
for me is that I'm fairly good. I used to do this as a teacher because students would ask me to do things like this. They'd always ask me to do these little silly tricks where they would ask me to guess their Myers-Briggs types, which is something it's 1 in 16, so it's not that impossible. But it's but I had a incredibly good accuracy. The only ones I could never guess the Myers-Briggs type of were R type because I was looking at myself, so I couldn't figure out what I was looking at. But there's certain people to where I think it's useful to understand what motivates people in terms of I think it would prevent, or in the right kind of person, it can help you to understand that not everybody is doing everything for the reason that you're doing it. And that's a very INFJ thing to say. But I think sometimes people, read in more to what people do than's actually going on because they're convinced that their way of seeing things was what motivates everybody. And it's just not. Like, to me, it's...
Yeah, and joining Comicsgate and being part of the whole community side of it, and then getting involved with the promotion side of it has brought me in contact with, pretty much every type of personality you can imagine.
Yep.
And so a lot of times I'm just like, wow, I have no idea what's motivating that person to say that or do that. But I recognize it, and the patterns emerge in people, and you start to sort of get a feeling like, oh, that's why they do that stuff and say that stuff, even though I would never do that. And people say to me, "Oh, you're a great personality for what you're doing because you're diplomatic and blah blah blah." And I say, I'm not trying to be anything. This is just me.
Yep.
And if for whatever reason it works for this. So my personality didn't really work that well for lots of other things in my life. It didn't help me any, but it helped me in poker and it helped me in this.
Someone should go back and fact check me on this, but on one of the streams we were on, and it might have been that first one. It'd be scary if it was the first or second one, but I said that about you, that you seem like you keep a very even keel in terms of like how you do things or something like that. And I immediately thought, and I wonder who said it first, if it was Mel, you, or me, but I immediately thought, I know that drives his wife crazy. And then I think she wrote in the chat, it drives me crazy. Or you said it drives Mel crazy. And that's such an obvious, thing to understand. But it's, if you understand people who, you know, the hardest type of personality that a lot of people struggle to understand. I saw yours, INTJs, and I know quite a few INTJs. One of my friends who I just did a video game concept art job for that just got released is an INTJ, Antoine. So yeah, very cool. The thing about it, stop it, Stephen. Stop it. I know what you're doing. And it's not so much 7 on its own, but if you really want to drive me crazy, put 57 in there. That drives me nuts. Yeah, 885 subs, guys. So close. You know, I feel like Michael owes me his platform still, though, no matter what. I don't know why that is. It's weird.
I owe my platform to so many people you wouldn't believe.
That's right. Mainly Mo Biggs.
I'm racking up the enemy. I'm up to 3 mortal enemies by now, by the way. I don't know if you're
excellent.
aware.
Yes, like Heinz
just trying to get more. Just trying to build up more mortal enemies.
Well, you know, you haven't really made it in CG until you've got mortal enemies.
What did Winston Churchill say? If you made enemies, that's a good thing. That means you've tried to do something.
Yeah, I mean, anything you do, you're going to run into that. But it's let me see here. Is there a regular time for? There is for Michael. For me, but if you subscribe to this channel and you hit the bell for notifications, I usually will put out what time I'm live streaming, and you'll be able to find it. So make sure you subscribe and then ring the bell for notifications here. And then Michael, can you give your show times that you do?
I do a 1 hour sort of late night type show where we talk about different comics and different topics related to comics. Specifically this sort of corner of crowdfunding and Comicsgate and all that kind of stuff. It's a fun show. That's at 11 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays to Saturday. So 3 nights a week. I also do a 2-hour draw stream. When is that? That would be Sunday late night. So early morning Monday. Depends on where you are. Looks like you might be in Israel. So it might actually work out for you.
And I do love pie.
I don't know the exact time of that. I think it's like 2 a.m. Eastern or something like that. And then, yeah, a bunch of other shows. Jeremy here in the chat, Lord Crackhead, he has lots of regular shows as well. And they're great if you want to just chat anything related to our scene. And if you're new to CG, you know, sometimes it works like a scene, sometimes it works like a network, sometimes it works like a community, sometimes it works like a movement, whatever. You know, Jeremy's is a really fantastic show to just know, to get to know what's going on. And he has I don't know his times off by heart, but he has a regular show as well that is getting more and more popular by the week.
Yeah, Monday Night Mayhem, and then Saturday is I think Comicsgate Talk, and yeah, great channel and a really great dude. Another one of those folks in CG, and there have been more than I can count that you just become fast friends with, and you know, just I think that's the thing that has been really fun about it is once you get past all of the nonsense, with everything. I mean, I think that's true with everything. You know, I think that. It's you know, I look at and I think about things like, you know, collecting comics and stuff like that and all the things that I love to do. The reality is it comes down to people are passionate about this art form and they're passionate about the fun of comics and the fun of art and the fun of writing and telling stories. It's actually a very simple, you know, scene. It's the least complicated thing in the world. And it's fun. There's so many places to get started too now. There's so many places. My stream is kind of like a place to come and watch someone stream of consciousness paint and
you are quickly becoming the sort of philosophical center of Comicsgate. I feel like no, I come here to recharge my batteries. The art is like the
distraction,
the window dressing, you know. This is how you get the people in the door with this amazing beautiful art, but then you come in and it's like, come in, sit down in a circle, let's talk about
yeah.
You're a bit like
so then the question has to
you're
be...
the CG guru. I
Oh,
expect
Lord.
how things work so
Uh,
slowly in CG. Like, no,
yeah.
time moves so fast. Sorry. In a
Yes.
few
I know what you mean.
years, you'll have a big long beard. I mean, you're already
It's gonna
there.
happen. I
You've
am.
already got the Indian heritage. Your
That's right.
fingernails will grow out, and you'll start
Oh
talking with an
man.
accent, and we'll
It
call you
may go very
Guru
Howard
Shan.
Hughes though suddenly.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing too, right? When people watch me, watch me work and do all this stuff, the funny thing about it is that the I enjoy the chat, but this to me is like the thing that keeps me calm while I'm socializing. If that makes sense. Like I drew everywhere I went because it was relaxing for me. So it's never more stressful for me to be painting and talking, but it's far more stressful for me to just be talking. I find that way more difficult.
No, yeah, I understand that. I get that as well. Although I've become very used to it by now, so it
Yeah.
doesn't bother me anymore. But I understand it.
18 years of teaching was the only
I
thing like that.
still don't feel comfortable just talking into a camera
Yeah.
with nothing else. That's something that I all of a sudden what I do so easily on a stream when I know I'm talking to people in a chat
Mm-hmm.
becomes I'm like, oh, how do I say words? I'm like what's his face? What do I do with my hands? Literally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
It's weird.
It is weird, but I never could have imagined that we would be good to see you. Gigavux, good to see you here in the chat. Let's see here. Yeah, I find it. This has all happened so fast. I was saying to somebody that it feels like it is the most amount of work that I've ever done, and I have it matches the energy I have for doing the work, and it feels like this perfect kind of balance, and it's an amazing kind of thing. And I'm getting better at it the more I practice, and in terms of just getting into a rhythm with it. But yeah, there was a while where it was tough. Um, let's see, no loss at all. Plenty of things you spend time on. No interest in crackhead lords or otherwise. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. I told Random McRanderson. I told you, Sean the Bob Ross of CG. There you go. It's okay to not know what you're missing. There you go. Look at this. I love hanging out with CG, best group of nerds. Yeah, absolutely. 80s made consumer. Thanks. I know only Marvel and DC and some manga like Berserk. There you go. Yeah. So I also know Berserk. I have that series over there. So I am curious. Yeah, check it out. You'll love it.
This is the most exciting time in independent comics since the 80s, but even maybe ever, I feel, because there's so much energy swirling around the internet now. Things are possible that were never possible before. So instead of, we got, I guess, the big hit of the indies was always Ninja Turtles. Imagine a situation now where potentially these things are coming out all the time. That's what's happening now. And we obviously, we don't know what's going to ever take off or become a hit, but it's crazy. There's so much awesome stuff coming out. And just come in, hang out, enjoy the streams, look at the art, and you'll get a feel of like the things. I mean, look at what Shanta's doing. This is a comic book. He's not just painting art. Like, this is an actual story he's making. I mean, it's crazy.
Well,
So
this is the
really
funniest thing.
Yeah.
As someone who's been mainly in the chat, and that's where it was, for me, because I wasn't even, hey, what's up, Dan Lawless? Good to see you, my Gross Point Dank brother. It's good to see you. This is the thing about it. When I was looking at the stuff I was doing, you guys are watching. If you go back to the start of this channel, or you go back to the start of anybody's channel and just jump around, like I was looking at the Fandom Menace meetup at Celebration stream last night with Ethan and Jeff from World Class and Anna and everybody there. And then I think it's where Ethan first met one of the guys on Echo Base Network, Nick, I think it is. And that was the thing about it. It's like when I'm doing stuff like this for Phil's book, this is a piece that's inspired by someone I met on CG Team because of Eric Weathers and Michael and all those guys and Clint, having me on there once. And I was like, wow, okay. And then once I had already ordered and owned Downcast, but that's when I met Clint. So when Phil, who's another one of my fast friends in CG, asked me to do a piece and we were looking for things to do, he threw the idea out there, and I was working on, right now I'm working on in acrylic, getting the texturing and the underpainting phase of this, so I can go in and detail it. And, as I put that stuff together and try to figure out how to get the rust and the brass and whatever else is going on in it to look good, you guys can see that process as I work, and that's what's so fun about it. You could never have had, these kinds of fun conversations, let alone get close-ups on artwork until YouTube and all this stuff was available. And we're just doing some really cool, fun stuff.
I'm watching a TV show at the moment called *Halt and Catch Fire*, and it's all about the mid '80s and the computer boom. These companies trying to, and the internet is just being invented. All these, like the internet, the structure for the internet is being invented, and people are just getting modems for the first time, and they're trying to picture what the future could be like.
Mm-hmm.
They're the very first online games and all that sort of stuff, and I very much feel like this is what's happening. This new technology with crowdfunding and YouTube for promotion is unlocking potential that was not unlocked previously. That's why we're seeing what's going on, and it's the people who can actually use these technologies in a positive way and get results are the ones who are going to be shaping the future of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to say this, there's a lot of support and a lot of great stuff going on, but there are elements in CG that are incredibly abusive. And this, gentleman, nobody knows his real name, but he goes by the Replicator, has been stalking, harassing, and doing shows with Mike for quite some time now.
20 years.
Yeah, 20. I have to tell you,
it feels like.
Well, you guys have known each other without really knowing each other since the Twitter following and the indie.
2015.
So
Rob and I made contact 7 years ago, and fate brought us together again.
Isn't that wild?
It is.
You guys have some of my favorite shows and favorite conversations in the world. It's CG's Odd Couple in the best sense. It's just great.
I like when Rob has an idea for a topic and it's just terrible, and I just no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
See, this is. I feel like Rob makes sense to me, but I remember setting my storyboards by dial-up. Oh yes, to send 10 frames. Yeah, those are. There's so.
I remember trying to see a nudie pic over the internet, and it would come in line by line, and I'm like, "Mum's gonna be home in 45 minutes. This thing needs to be downloaded before then." And you're getting late. You're like down over the neck. You're like, "Come on."
Yeah, it's so funny because I just want to point this out. I don't even have to read it. The first thing I see are those numbers to get the joke. Like, there's no slow reveal. There's none of that stuff. And I'm not even going to tell you. See, I was smart. I started giving you guys some of my second tier numbers. But I will say this is that that one of the best things about this stuff, and whether it's CG or any of it, is not forcing it. It's a bit like forcing a hobby. When I paint, if I was telling, my wife the other day, when I was doing this work, I said, this is such hard work. Thank God I love it. Thank God I don't have to fake it, because it takes so much. And if it wasn't for how much I love Comicscape, I wouldn't be, streaming, because it's a necessary part of it. And in that forcing yourself, John had that quote that I still love, John Malin, one of my favorite quotes. I talk about it all the time. We're all introverts, get over it, start streaming. And those are and he was the one who forced me to get onto StreamYard. It's him and Rob Arnold. And so I could do this stuff. And here we are. Like, I feel like I've been doing this forever. And if you go back, it's only a couple months ago. Maybe I don't even want to look at how short of a time ago it probably was.
I've been here for 2.5 years.
Exactly.
I'm a veteran at this point. 2.5 years.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Ethan's been doing it before.
Oh yeah, yeah. But his, I think there's this moment where you get into your groove that is very tied to the audience, and watching Ethan's. It's so funny. I think The Last Jedi is like this nexus of like so much stuff that happened for some of us, because talking about that was a huge part of the audience growth on his channel. I know I was there, people looking for other sane people. And if you had told me that, that it was going to all lead to this, I wouldn't have believed you, but it all happened very, honestly. It just kind of unfolded, So I can't even. People like have questions. Hello, Sean, Michael, and chat. Hello to you, Death Pusher. It's good to see you. Let's see here. 13, nothing. Does nothing for me, Steven. Sorry. I'm totally fine with that number. Jim Cox, people are just going to keep guessing. It's just, you've unleashed the hounds now with that about the downloading. I remember when waiting to download an image. Oh, yeah. I mean, guys, I didn't even use the internet. I don't think I'd ever been on the internet looking for something until 1999. And so I was, yes, it's true.
Shut, you're not that much older than me.
I'm not.
That's Luddite stuff.
Yeah, well, our
what
school,
are you talking about?
Bless our hearts, was by equally Luddite people, my art school. So we didn't learn, I didn't learn Photoshop or Illustrator in college. Those weren't prereqs. There was one course. It was such a behind the times situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I had to learn that stuff after college. Yeah. EVS for anyone not subscribed to EVS, Mandy.
Man, we were making websites in 95 and uploading them.
Yeah. I don't know what you want me to say, Michael.
Late bloomer. That's all right. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, it's fine. I was busy crushing it with traditional media. And
you were developing these skills.
That's exactly right. Well, when people ask me how much it costs for my originals, I always go, well, again, just imagine if while everyone was doing other things, I said this mainly to my brother-in-law. God bless him if he's watching. Love you, kid. He said to me, he was like going, how much do you charge for your paintings? And he goes, are there any free benefits for family? Any free stuff? And I go, do you remember when you were in law school learning all those skills that made you a lot of money? I was doing this pointless endeavor, but now's the moment where it turns over to be worth something. And now's the point where I'm going, there's not enough life in most people to do a realistic portrait. There's not enough life left for them to learn that skill. So it's going to cost. And that's kind of how it is, and you think of all the skills you bring to bear on your channel, on your comic, on everything that came from years. Nope. Yeah. That's number's not going to, guys, people who know will know the numbers. They should be obvious. How do you feel about Heinz 57 sauce? I love it. Damn you, Antoine.
Would you ever eat that?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. I can't make that joke. I'll tell it to you after the stream. But anyway, let me see. Antoine, maybe you know this joke. I'm an Indian, Austrian, Puerto Rican. So what do you think my relationship is with making jokes with that particular brand? And I'll leave it there. It was a slang term that we all often used. Let's see here. I can't forget about that one, Mo. Yeah, there you go, guys. Look at this. And this is an example of, so 80s Made Consumer, 80s MC as I call him, did a video on my brother Michael, who's here. And I immediately...
Thank you, 80s Made.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and you were in the chat the other night. And I immediately saw it, sent it to you. You saw it, commented on it. And then I talked about it and found all this other stuff because we're just looking for those kindred spirits out there and people who appreciate good work. And when he was reviewing, did you see my pause right there where I froze mid-sentence? What do you think? Look at the chat and tell me which thing you think stopped me.
Is that 117?
I hate being crazy, man, so much. You don't understand.
We found your kryptonite, Shanth. You should never have admitted that. Never.
Unless I'm so smart that I'm giving you false kryptonite. No, but this is the thing. But listen, I think it's bonkers. Like, I laugh. I find it hilarious that how do I word this? sensible people like sensible in all things but marriage, like my wife, they fascinate me so much because they make total sense to me. Like, I love it. Like, she has totally predictable thoughts about things and reactions to things and all of that other
Normal
stuff.
people, normies.
Yeah,
Sean,
and I'm again, at least I'm an orange. It's all I can say. At least I'm an orange. But yeah, this is well, Antoine, I'll tell you some other time, man. But yeah, I'm a bad person.
Hal Mo Biggs dropping links to all these great CG.
Yeah, Mo,
channels,
you're awesome. As we say in Australia, you're a diamond, mate. So
why can you do such a good accent? OC Steve, who's a fantastic what is it? What are people who can do other people's voices called? I'm just blanking on the word. You know, comedians who do impressions. He's a fantastic impressionist. He cannot for the life of him do an Australian accent. He sounds like a British. He goes like, "Oi, I'm going to talk like Rob Arnold now." And he's like,
yeah, if you want to talk like Rob Arnold, you have to do things like Michael. Like, that's my favorite thing is the way he says your name.
Yeah. Like is my mom. You do a good Aussie accent though.
I can get there. Yeah, I can do both Indian accents, several Southern accents. New Zealand is easiest.
I was in tears once at a poker table when a guy, Indian background, full Australian accent, full Aussie. Yeah. He called up his parents and he switched to an Indian accent. I was like, "What was that about?" And he was just like, this is, this is what we do. And he said, "Check this out." And he called some random person on his phone. And he was doing the most stereotypical, like Mumbai heavy accent. I was in tears. And he was doing the whole, and he could just turn it on and off like that. I was in tears. It was so hilarious.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it is. My wife loves it. She loves that accent. And I would tell her when I went to India, I would speak with an Indian accent. I would go in there when I was little, like 4 or 5, but it would just kind of come on. But the accent I'm doing right now is my non-regional accent, that I kind of default
that's your
to.
Received, right? American, just generic American.
Well, yeah, but it's interesting because my Southern accent I pick up immediately. Like if I was ever on a stream with Mandy, I'd have a Southern accent, unavoidable. It would just, even when I say Southern accent, I slip into it a little bit, because it's what I spoke with from 7.
It's so easy to get into that drawl.
Yeah, but the trick about it is
Matthew McConaughey.
What's the key to doing a Southern accent? It's easy. All you got to do is not ever make the sound. Everything's an sound. So you say, "Oh, I saw a rooster and some hens." You have to say things like that. I was writing with my pen, and it was amazing. And I just said to myself, that's the key. Get rid of the Oh my God, y'all. That's amazing. And then you enunciate things on opposite sides. So you don't say the backyard, you say in the backyard. So I was in the backyard the other day, and then we were talking, and I was like, "Oh my God, the hens have gotten out. I dropped my pen."
The pitch also goes up. That's a thing
I
didn't
that's
realize.
That's a Tennessee accent. My Southern accent's a little bit more down here. That's where I kind of lived when I was talking in Southern accent. But I mean, it don't make never mind.
Whiskey. Drinking some
but
whiskey.
See, that's the thing. You still go into British. You got to go.
That's
here's
right.
the trick.
I'm not going to be at your level, Shant. But I can do lots of different Australian accents.
Yeah.
If you want to hear them.
Yeah, real friends pay full price. There you go. Oh my God, you guys are cracking me up. Do a Mexican accent. It's funny. Where? Like that's too broad. Like I could do Eric Morales' accent, one of my favorite fighters, born the day before me, Eric El Terrible Morales, but his accent is Tijuana accent. So yeah, there's different kinds. And of course I had cousins who were half Mexican. So it's it just depends on where the person is from, really. Let me see here. Malin has a yeah. God. Hey, John, Joe's here. Hey, John, good to see you, by the way. I'm so used to seeing you in the chat. When you show up, I sometimes forget to say hello. Yeah, Don Chin stuff, which that blows my mind to think about Don Chin and Rini here. But Don, if I'm not mistaken, illustrated adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, which my friend and I were obsessed with when we were kids, you know, because it was during that whole time of like the parody comics and things like that. But we loved it. Yeah. Generican. Yeah, I speak Generican Scotsly. Let's see. Chance, do you back troll phone scammers with your Indian accent? Absolutely. Well, I love when someone calls me up and goes, "Hello, I'm Kevin calling from Idaho." And the truth is, could very well be from Idaho in this day and age. That's the scariest part. No way of knowing. You know. So let me see here. Say keeper of the sacred torque wrench. I don't know what that means. Do you mean in a Southern accent or what? I'm confused. Or Michael.
Must be.
Let me know.
Must be in a Southern accent.
Okay. Caper of the Sacred Torque Wrench. It's easy. Just got to make it an I.
Did you say caper?
Yeah, caper. E is A.
Caper.
Yeah, he's the caper of the Sacred Torque Wrench.
I have trouble saying the R's on the end of words. It's not natural for me.
Yeah, come to New England. You'll be golden. We don't say ours here. Got to pack the car and have a
like Kennedy, President Kennedy. He didn't say
sassy Southern accent. Yeah, because when I talk to my mother-in-law, Southern guys, there's not a huge vocabulary for us. So you sit around and people go, and people don't understand this. The women are like going, "Well, you know, you got to do this, and you know, that's what I said, Clyde. You got to do this," and we're like, "Yep." Yeah, well, I guess we'll do it. I mean, you know, if we say that much, it's a very laid back reality. But the Tennessee accent is very up high. It's very nasal. It's like
sounds like it's the kind of place I want to be. It sounds very relaxed, laid back.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a different thing. It's a different word. Bancroft says bean, not bean, not bin or bean. See, bin is Southern. So you'd say, "Where have you been?" He wouldn't say, "Where have you been?"
Where have you been?
Yeah, see? So, I
feel like I could pick it up if I went there.
Oh, I just love your wife, Mel. That's what it would be. It would be Mel.
Yeah, Mel was at a job, and she was working with a New Zealand girl who had a really thick accent. And
I love New Zealand.
The girl came up to her and said, "Can I borrow your pin?" And she's like, "What?" And Mel is, new to English as well, so she doesn't really deal with accents very well. And she's like, your pin. Can I get your pin?" And she had no idea what she was saying, and she picked it up. Your pin, like that. And it was couldn't. She came back. She's like, "You wouldn't believe what this woman was saying to me today."
It's a very Southern accent, the New Zealand accent. It's the easiest one to do for me coming up, in the South, but a big part of it has to be hearing. So that's probably tied to being able to, pick up a tune on violin or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's,
I have to be around the people for a long time to pick it up. When I was in Germany, my proudest moment, I was flying back to Frankfurt and I was sitting next to a businessman on the plane and we were just chatting in German. And he was like, where are you going? And I was, "I'm going home to Australia." He just couldn't understand. He's like, "But you're German, aren't you?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the best thing anyone's ever said to me." He's like, "Your accent is pure." Where was it? The Rhine area, wherever Dusseldorf is, and Dortmund and everything. It's like, it is pure that. And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And now it's completely gone. I just sound like an Aussie struggling to speak German.
Yeah, look at this. We've got Felix Haas in the chat. We've got Black Rose Comics. B Rose, great to see you. American Comics Company. You're always in good company with American Comics Company. We've got Steve's Aussie accent is worse than my American accent. American accents are I had someone teach me how to convey an American accent to somebody else, which was fun. Holy cow, there's 40 people watching right now. This is the first time I've ever had 40 people watching me.
Nice.
That's really wild. I was excited when it was 4. So this is a whole nother kettle of fish.
I remember.
This is wild stuff. So yeah, look at this. Hail John, everybody here in the chat. But yeah, I like, different kinds of people in terms of accents, because you can learn a lot about, where they're from. And I like learning different vernaculars and things like that. So, I mean, it's all a part of it. We both like history. I love hearing other people's language. I love seeing, like, when I saw what do you call it? Oh my gosh, is it how do I pronounce it? Is it Inba, or what was the name?
Inba, yeah, I think it's it sounds like it's Hebrew for amber.
And I recognize the Hebrew script because I used to have and some of you guys might know this one. I used to have in Hebrew Jehovah Jireh in my or Jireh, depending on how you pronounce it, on my desktop. So there you go. Let's see here. Hail Mo Biggs. Hail Felix Haas. Look at all these people. Jose Garcia. Yeah, Maine. Sweet Cast. That's right. Yeah, I'm working on his character right now. When I lived in Berlin, they are notorious for having horrible customer service.
Oh.
So if they were nice to me on the phone, I knew very fast it was a scam. That's awesome. Yeah,
Berlin
that's
is a
totally
very
hilarious.
weird German accent.
Let's see. The best
Mel's
compliment I
family's
got
from
Texas.
Berlin.
You don't sound like a Yankee. That's a good one there. I like that. You don't sound like a Yankee as a compliment. Yeah,
we call you all Yanks. You're all Yanks. We don't delineate. You're all from
yeah.
over there.
I
You're all
know
Yanks.
it's yeah. When you like British music, you learn that quick. So, or my version of British music, which is probably not everybody's. Shane Davis. Look at Mo Biggs is just a legend here. Thank you, Mo Biggs. 42, the answer to everything. That's how many people are watching.
Well,
right
I mean,
now.
no, seriously, you think about it. Like, there's people like Mo Biggs in the chat and others who are here every day.
Exactly.
Every day,
Yeah.
and have been the whole time. So, like, that's as much of a commitment as anyone who streams or puts out a comic. And you can't dismiss this side of what we're doing. YouTube is our platform.
It is.
So
yeah,
these guys are as much part of CG or even more than anyone who's actually making comics.
Well, and I don't know what it was like for you, but it was, and it's good to see you, by the way, Hicks Villain. It's I don't know what it was like for you, but my thing with CG started with feeling like I was living in this crazy environment where pop culture didn't make any sense, and finding it like, people that got it in the chat. So the chat's where it all began for me. Before I was, a creator, I was in the chat, and I wasn't thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be in this chat so that one day I can do. Not at all. I was like, I'm going to be in this chat so I don't lose my mind. I need to laugh, and I need to be around people who have some idea of these things that I'm passionate about, and can have a good laugh about the things that are driving me nuts. Yeah. Random McRanderson. When I was younger, I went to camp where some of the staff were Australian. During the introduction, the main guy said something like, no, I won't say that.
No smoking on the deck.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They said no smoking on the white-faced, but the accent, everyone laughed. I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Look at this, Felix. Good to see you. Yes. Hi, John. Yeah. How could you not, like, CG is great, and it's, I've had such a great time here, guys, with, if it wasn't for, like, I was looking at my Cyberfrog copy from way back when, I remember backing that book. Was the first CG book I backed.
Hold on a sec. I'll be back.
Yeah, of course. And I remember backing that book, and I was looking at it and thinking about how when I received that book, I was like, it's real. It's a real thing. And you guys make it real. And that's what's so cool. Sean, you trying to teach them Yankees how to talk right? Listen, you can't ever teach them Yankees how to talk right, man. You know how it is. Mighty Geek Studios. That's my response. Felix House, always good to see you. Look at all these fine people. Hail Black Rose Comics. Gosh, I'm falling behind. Hex Allen, good to see you. And there is our Hex Allen's link. Thank you, Mo Biggs. Lord Crackhead, check out, yes, Nosfero the Cryptwalker, guys. Always appreciated for any of you guys who back it. This is the art for the book. This is what we are making. This is what we are doing. So let's see here. Mo Biggs, hello. Moromi, good to see you. Jeremy Burtz, Past Master Dan. We grow on you like a fungus. You guys absolutely do. And it is a joy. Yes, The Lucent Pain of Death by Michael Bancroft, who has been on the stream with me. For those of you guys who don't know, the email sign-up list is there. I'm really excited about this book. The Lucent is one of my absolute favorite books to come out of CG. And I can't tell you what a rich and engrossing world that Michael is creating with that book. And for those of you guys who missed book one, you're going to have an opportunity to get book 1 with book 2 as well, but you can also get book 1. I don't know if it's still available on CG Now. Is it still available on CG
It
Now?
is. Yeah, I've got
excellent.
I've got about 40 copies left, I think, overall.
Excellent.
And they're available on eBay. But yeah, the easiest way to find it is cgnow.net and search for the Lucent. I have to jump out, Sean. I got to get ready
That's
to go
totally
to work.
fine, man.
Do you want to show my screen there? People can
Yeah, of
see
course
what
I do.
been
Oh, I
doing.
see it. Yeah. Let me add it to stream. Hang on a sec. There you go. Look at that. Wow.
There.
Beautiful.
This is what I was saying. I just needed to figure it out first. This whole side here and here, I did in this last, hour and 20 minutes or something. It gets faster once I sort of, okay, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be good. It's a whole page. I don't know.
Yeah,
This is all going to be a lot less detailed because it's going off into the distance.
But
this
that's
stuff here
beautiful.
is
The
the
structure
most
on
detailed.
that looks amazing, man. That is great.
Thank you. Yeah.
And actually, we're going to wrap this stream up because I just realized I am sure shortly one of the many big streams on Monday are going to be starting. I don't know when CG King start, but I think it's soonish, isn't it?
Yeah, it usually starts about the same time I start work, so that's makes sense.
So, guys, we are going to wrap up this stream. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are amazing, and you have been amazing today, guys, and I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe this stream. I would appreciate it very much. I had my first stream get over 50 likes recently, and I was blown away by that. You guys are awesome. And boy, the chat is just flying, guys. Seriously, Mo Biggs, you are doing amazing work. Vero, good to see you, my friend. Look at all these great people, guys. 80s Made Consumer is almost to 100 subscribers now. Thank you guys for checking out that channel and all of the great channels. This stream will be available with all these links soon. Charlie Stevenson, great to see you. CG Now link right there. Oh my gosh, Michael, how do you do it on your channel? I don't know how you handle it.
Well, I skip a lot of it. That's where a lot of the gatekeeping jokes come into it.
Yeah, there you go. Word up, Billy Basco. Good to see you guys.
Too many. Sometimes there's too many.
Yeah, there's too many of them. So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to play us out with our music and that I wrote and created for you. Is it as good as Michael Boy, where I learned how to play that song on violin and then sang in dulcet tones to my fallen brother?
Yeah.
Because I knew he was probably going nuts about ready to start that email list and thinking, I got to be working. And I thought, how can I get eyes on this campaign? But here you guys go. Here is your song. Thank you guys so much. Hail to the chat. Hail to all of you. You guys are awesome. And go check out any of those links. Nosfero the Crypt Walker. We're on our way. Michael's the Lucent Pan Death. Please sign up for that and like and subscribe to both of our channels. Peace out, love, and take care, everybody.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?
Apologize, I forgot you were there. You may go now.